Life insurance, it's something we're all familiar with. We all kind of know what life insurance is. If you pass, it pays out a lump sum. What's the reasons why people would want life insurance, though? And just tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I think many people are already bought into the idea that they do need some level of life insurance. It does what it says on the tin, and I think people understand, certainly when they're buying a property, that as a bare minimum in terms of financial planning, that's something that would be required. But I think the main thing to really think about with life insurance is it offers so much more than just that simple mortgage protection. And that would be what a lot of advisors are trying to kind of draw out with their clients and trying to get them to think about. It's not about thinking about the doom and gloom of something like that happening, though. There's so many positives that it brings out in terms of your family support. I always say, if you're looking to buy a property, you get in that house, what's the next kind of goal? What's the next thing happening in your life? So there's so many other things that you still want to happen. And if anything did disrupt that, you still want your family, your partner, friends to go on and still achieve all those things. So I try and think of life insurance as that additional support within your financial planning. How you arrive at that is a conversation that you have with your advisor, and they can really help kind of guide you with their expertise around what it can do for them. But I think that's the thing I would really always emphasize. You listen to your advisor when they're saying to talk about the life insurance. It's not a doom and gloom conversation all the time at all, but it is taking it that a little bit further than maybe just your bog standard mortgage cover, because it really does offer so much more for your family should anything happen.
I think that's a really good point, isn't it? It's the mortgage by default we're thinking of.
Yeah.
But actually it goes deeper than that, doesn't it? It's, yes, you want the mortgage repaid. And I think it's worth just pointing out, when we talk to some clients relating to life insurance, there's a feeling of, well, if I die, they'll be okay, or they can still afford it, or now, I mean, that's one way of looking at it, but one thing I always make clear to clients is you may think that, but they may not feel like that, especially if you've gone, but also the mortgage lender may not feel like that.
Yeah.
Because the mortgage lender will reassess affordability, and if one of you is gone, remember, you only got the mortgage because of two incomes.
Yeah.
If one is gone, stands to logic, what do you think is about to happen? That's not a position you want to leave your partner, person, a friend, or whoever you've bought your property with. But also it's the, as you say, the wider areas of protection there. So one area we always cover is personal protection. So actually going above and beyond the life cover for the mortgage. What's some examples of personal protection that you think we should be thinking about when?
Yeah, so I think the mortgage can definitely lead the conversation, which is very understandable. It's, probably the largest debt anyone's going to take on in their life. But it's not the only bill that goes out every single month either. And what we have found really with a lot of claimants, people that are making claims on behalf of losing a loved one, is they don't actually use that money to necessarily pay off the mortgage, because all of a sudden there's so many more bills going out every single month that they need to take care of. And also they're going through a horrific period in the time. They've lost a loved one. A lot of people aren't in a position to be making big financial decisions like that as well. So what it does is it buys them that peace of mind, that time to really take a look at their financial situation. And that is the importance of going above and beyond mortgage and looking at that personal cover as well. So we do have a product called Family Income Benefit. It's my favourite product on the out there, really, because it's so flexible. And I think what that can also do, it pays out a monthly amount upon the death of somebody. And you can really put a figure on supporting a family afterwards over and above the mortgage. We all know there's so many more bills that go out, so many more needs and demands on us financially, just above that mortgage payment. And like I said, we've had many people that have made claims. One in particular that really comes to my mind is Lady Beth, who lost her husband. She thought that the money was there to pay off the mortgage. The whole conversation was around that as well. That's how they arrived at the sum assured and things. And she hasn't used one penny to pay off the mortgage. It's actually just been about getting through life with her children since losing her husband. I think she said a lot of it's also been things like takeaways, because you're now a single parent.
Yeah.
You're looking after, you're holding everything together. You don't maybe have the time, the emotional energy, the physical energy to do what you used to do when you were a couple. So even things like that, taking the weight off your mind that you've got the resources there, that there's going to be a bit of a change in your lifestyle, but you can support the whole family. So it's very important to talk over and above the mortgage, and things like family income benefit, that personal protection is key to help with those scenarios we would never think of until you're in that situation.
That's a really good point. It's if you've got let's say a joint household, it's not just a joint debt, it's all the bills are suddenly going from two people sharing them to one person taking them all on.
Yeah.
And especially if you've got kids, and we all know the kind of cost it takes to bring up a kid nowadays. I think it's like 250,000 or something by the time.
Yeah, it scares me, the figure, to be honest.
It's a big number.
Yeah.
But then that cost is then going to be borne by one person.
Yeah.
On top of the mortgage, on top of all the other bills. So it's actually breaking it down, isn't it? It's the mortgage insurance to protect the mortgage debt is kind of the minimum. And actually above and beyond that, you are going to have most likely a need. And that's going to be supporting the kids, supporting the household. And I guess the conversation I often have with couples or anyone buying jointly is right now, if something was to happen, let's just accept that point.
Yeah.
What would you want to happen?
Yes. What do you want it to look like at that point? Well, how do you want to leave your family? And I think that's a really key point, actually, is one objection that we a lot of people can find, because it's sort of human behaviour to think something's not going to happen to us, of course. We don't want to be going through life thinking the opposite to that. Is that maybe I can cut back, or I'll do this, I'll do that, it'll be fine. But what this really offers you is the chance that you don't need to do that. And when you have children, obviously the cost, you know, there's not many areas you can actually cut back on. And do you want to do that for your children when they've maybe lost a loved one? You want life to still have that routine, that normality as much as possible. And this gives you that balance to be able to still do all of those things, whilst also not, you know, running yourself ragged and into the ground because you're having to make up two incomes. It gives the flexibility, the peace of mind, and I think that's the key part here, is that we can achieve that. So you don't need to change anything.
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, and it's about having those in-depth conversations, and I guess being honest with yourselves and I guess you could look at it two ways. If you're let's say you're the main earner in the household, okay, well, if that income goes, how's the lower earner in the household going to go? Vice versa, if you're the lower earner in the household, you want to be having that conversation with, I'm gone, there's a lot of things that I'm doing which then is going to be borne by the higher earner, and that's so it's about levelling that playing field of, if anything happens to either of us, what do we want to happen for each other, for the kids, and just to be clear again, life insurance and family income benefit that we talked about there, life insurance typically a lump sum payment.
Yes.
So you know, if you've got a 200 grand mortgage, you'd have a 200 grand life insurance as an example. And then the family income benefit is where you can set a monthly benefit to pay out.
Yes.
And that can be kind of any number, really, can't it?
It can be any number, and you can really work that out between yourselves as an individual, as a couple, of what is that figure that's actually needed, what's the bare minimum of essential, or including those sort of non-essentials, I always say, that are really important to you that you would want to continue to pay. But family income benefit, the reason why I love it so much is it has the flexibility. So you can put that in place and it pays out that monthly amount. But should your circumstances change further down the line, you can convert to a lump sum. It'll be a little bit of a lesser amount of what's left, but it just gives you the option if you do want to make changes. And it's an affordable way of looking at life insurance as well. It's another option, and they work in tandem together. So certainly, you know, that's one of the best areas that an advisor can bring their expertise to look at that as a bespoke solution for yourselves as well. It's never one size fits all at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And that just goes back to the importance of getting correct advice at the time and speaking to your protection broker or mortgage broker who's assisting you and getting that advice. Terrific. Well, thank you very much for covering life insurance today.
No worries.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.